Welcome to the Other Dimension. It's your Friday Night Paranormal Fix, and join us this week as we deep dive into the Vatican vaults and we pull out the secrets they don't want you to know here on the Other Dimension.
Welcome to the Other Dimension with the team Damon Penny, Ben Winfield, and Louisa Brown. We guide you through the supernatural, the occult, and the unexplained, answering questions that will make you question your grip of reality, with special guests guiding you through everything from demons to divination, cryptids to crystals, religion to skeptics. We explore in depth the true meaning of the unexplained. So strap in, kick back, and enjoy as we enter the Other Dimension.
Welcome! It's your Friday Night Paranormal Fix. I'm your host, Damon Penny. I'm joined by the paranormal power couple, the Winfields. Everyone goes crazy.
She's here, she's just off.
I'm going to be booping and bopping because my daughter's been out having a social life, playing in the park with her friends, and now she's come back, so I'm cooking tea for her, so I'll be popping in and out.
That's cool. That's cool.
Not the fact that we've just had a massive Chinese.
Oh,
I've had the Chinese, Evelyn hasn't.
Yeah, I know you guys have been busy because you're packing and you're going away. You know, it's going to be an exciting time, man. And I hope you guys are looking forward to it. So it's all good. It's all good, Lou. You do what you got to do. I know you women like to be prepared. You know, little lists, you know, passports and all the short. Eh?
She's already packed.
Really? I literally packed 20 minutes before I go to the airport.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you went shopping today, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh dear me.
Last week.
Well, look, we're talking about Vatican secrets tonight. We're going to throw some bits out there and we're going to get your guys' views on it. I know it's a subject we've been trying to do for ages, but I spoke to somebody who's a very good friend of mine who's his little niche with his podcast is Vatican secrets. So I thought, you know what, let's get into it. I'm going to speak to him and pull some bits out for you. But before we start, a couple of cringy things. I actually found myself watching older shows the other day to see if my arms have grown. That's really, really cringy.
I can't even say the word because I'll get banned off Facebook, because anyone that knows me knows I love to use this word and I will just get banned.
Oh, my God, the dog's
You are, shall we say, a Welsh delicacy.
And I've got to send a massive shout out to Lou and out to the Scarlet Witch for Wednesday's show. It was absolutely brilliant. The fact that they even put up with me, with words I was saying, congratulations, guys. Congratulations. It's like dealing with a heckler at a comedy show, man. Big up to yourself.
It's always fun.
Oh, I know it. I know it is. Roll call. Shouts out to Carol McDowell, out to Natasha, out to Jeanette, out to Irene who shared it out. Big shouts out to everyone there in the chat room. I think it's time we get into this, guys. I think it's time we actually open the Vatican secrets and we get into this. Now, I've got notes here. We're going to read them out, see where we go from there. I know Ben's going to throw some crazy stuff out there because it's like one of his go-to subjects. Let's just start off nice and easy. Now, we all know that they do exorcisms inside the Vatican. Whether we agree with it or not is another thing, right? I don't agree with what they do. I think it's ridiculous because everything is from a certain standpoint. Now, I just pulled this off of a website that my friend sent me. Now, let me read this out to you. No, I've got notes. I've got a few notes. Prep tonight, man. Right, so Baldier once said, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he doesn't exist. But in modern day Vatican City, the devil is considered alive and well. The late Pope John Paul II personally performed 3 exorcisms during his reign, and Pope Benedict XVI expanded the ranks of Catholic-sponsored exorcists throughout the world. In fact, Father Gabriel Amorth, which his name will come up quite a lot tonight, he's the church's chief exorcist, claims to expel more than 300 demons a year from the confines of his Vatican office, and there are some 350 exorcists operating on behalf of the Catholic Church just in Italy alone. Amorth, Ben, this is going to crack you up. This is brilliant, right? Check this out. Amorth, which is the chief exorcist there at the Vatican, teaches bishops how to tell the difference between satanic possession and psychiatric illness, noting that those who suffer from the former seem to be particularly repulsed by the sight of the holy water and the cross.
Big big credit to Gabriel. He was a very. I had the opportunity once to meet him, only for a couple of seconds in passing. He was a brilliant, brilliant man. Yeah, this is me. So brace everyone. This is me actually being
I'm shocked.
honorary, being respectful to him.
I,
He nine. They've just done him. They're just doing a film on him now that comes out soon.
yeah,
And it is true that about 97% of his cases, he ended up sending them to doctors to be referred to psychiatric wards, stuff like that. And he was a brilliant man. His books and teachings on it, I've learned lots off him. So this is the first time you'll ever hear me not say a bad thing about anyone from the church.
I mean, in that paragraph there, it does say that 300 exorcisms, but it doesn't say the outcome. So they can be mental illness. So taking from that little snippet there, I think it was more a snippet from a website to sort of,
Yeah,
it was a bias-based website to sort of go, oh, the Vatican are doing something wrong. Like, it doesn't state in there that they are exorcisms where they're pulling demons out of young children. Do you see what I mean? It's more the fact of there are 300 or to 350 cases of what could be perceived as possession, and it could be mental.
That what you said was in no disrespect anyway. But yeah, it's a lot of people. He's put on a lot, but he was probably the only exorcist ever on record to just go, 97% of these cases are all medical.
Yeah,
and that's we know in the trade it is a brilliant rarity.
Yeah.
For not to scream demons really everywhere.
Yeah, no, it is true. I just thought I'd throw that out there. That's a secret that's not so much a secret. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's something that I wanted to sort of highlight the fact of, as much as we sit here and we say they have a one-sided view, they look at things from a Catholic Christian sort of view, they do take on board the fact that there can be mental illnesses and it's not all one-sided. And that's the point I was trying to pull out with that paragraph.
Oh, random fact that I learned the other day. Why I remember, because you and everyone else watching are going to absolutely pee yourself, and I know Lewis because I've not told her yet.
Oh no!
Do you know that the Vatican Church has an Archbishop of the Moon?
Yes, I do. I was told that today. I do, and I nearly wrecked myself over that. Oh, also, did you know? Just to throw out there, the Vatican City, the Vatican City actually held a trial for a archbishop that had been dead for 7 months.
Yep. They dug him up, retrialed him. It's one of the best, one of the best and funniest cases ever.
And they had someone speak on his behalf. What?
Yeah.
Right. So let's right there. Have you ever heard of anything called the Apostolic Penitentiary? Ooh.
Sounds familiar, but I can't put a finger on it. So I'll give you this one. You might have me on.
Right. The Apostolic Penitentiary is a secret tribunal that investigates so-called heinous crimes of individuals. But these are crimes that are committed by bishops and...
Oh, it's their internal affairs.
Yeah, basically, it's their IA. Yeah, it's known as the IOR. Yeah. It was supposedly founded in 1179 and was kept a secret, and it actually come out in 2009. They actually stood up and done a press conference and admitted that they exist. But it deals with crimes such as bishops and archbishops that take sins and confessions, and then they turn them to other people. Also, a heinous crime is also contended as something where if you take a confession from a sexual partner as well.
Did you know, Saint the last Pope had a trial there, and that's why he had to step down?
Yes.
Because he found out that he was gay.
Yes, and there was question on his vow to what he had vowed to the church because of the fact that he come out. Because their opinion was if he was homosexual, how would he know this if he didn't break his vow? Which I look, I get where they're coming from, but I think it's a very outdated way of looking at things. You can choose your sexuality without acting on it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. You know who's also an extra in Star Wars?
I didn't know that. That is brilliant.
He played the Emperor Palpatine, because if you look at him, his skin's just as rotted as his was.
Yeah, that is quite cool. Right, so it's apostolic penitentiary. Only the Pope can grant absolution to people brought in front of this tribunal. Examples of these things include attempting to assassinate a Pope, a priest exposing the sin identity of a person who has confessed to them, and so on. The Pope acts as the head of the tribunal and is called the major penitentiary, and can even offer absolution or let the automatic excommunication stand. So with this tribunal, it's not like, off with his head, like Caligula sort of thing. It's look, you're not allowed back in Vatican City because you betrayed yourself. And it's a big thing for like these archbishops and these popes and that, to be excommunicated, because don't forget, to become an archbishop or someone within the Vatican, you dedicate your life to it. It's not something where you can sort of like, I'm an archbishop at the weekend, to sort of like, how Mary, how gracious. That being excommunicated is a big thing for these guys. So yeah,
completely not exile from it all.
I think Ben's the only person who's ever been on this show that's been exiled from Vatican City.
Yeah.
Now, to moving on to something a little bit more crazy, right? Now, a lot of these are rumors. They're just things that haven't been proven. But did you know that Vatican helped the Nazi war criminals escape the Allied forces?
Now, this is one that's been going on for a while, because they are very close. Everything that they have nowadays is what's known as time lock. So they have to have so many years before it can become public.
Yeah.
Now, personal communications between the Pope and the Nazi parties, let's face it, we all frigging know that they were doing this.
Yep, I agree.
But they privately can't release these notes. However, we know that we're doing this because there's tracks of it when the bloody Vatican bank collapsed and everyone found out all dirty secrets that they were firing money through.
Yeah. There was a certain I can't remember his name, but it was a guy that sort of, because the Vatican actually stands above the law itself because it's deemed as its own area, so they can bank where they like. But what they didn't realize is that the Italian Secret Service, or whatever they're called, they've got a certain name, National Guard or something like that.
Yeah.
They actually found a loophole in the law where they can find out where they're storing this money and how they're storing this money, and the secrets that come out with this is just crazy. But that's not a secret we're going into anyway. Big shout out to Irene, saying that she is Catholic, but she doesn't practice it. She's more Shinto. We've got to do a show on Shinto. I will do some research into that. Also, out to Annette saying they should do an exorcism on themselves. Cool. Oh, it's Shinto.
It's Shinto.
Now, let me read out what I got here, and we can sort of.
Remember.
After the victory of the Allied forces in Germany to the end of World War II, we all know the Nazis fled to South American countries such as Argentina, Chile, and Brazil. Now, Harvard researcher, a guy called Gerald Steinacher, wrote a book that shows travel documents pointing to the Vatican having helped the Nazis travel these countries. Steinacher argues it was done with the hope of reviving European Christianity and fear of the growing influence of the Soviet Union. The Vatican, however, has refused to comment on these claims. Now, we all know when people refuse to comment on a claim, it's because they don't want to say anything that's going to get them in trouble.
Which they couldn't have made it any obvious. Look at them. Look at the three countries just mentioned: Chile and
Argentina.
The stupid place that tried to think that they own the Falkland Island. We won't get into that one.
The war wins.
Yeah, we'll keep that separate. But they are heavily Christianized countries, so they're going to do whatever they can to help the Vatican City out.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to Vatican City, the biggest secret we know is what's hidden underneath in the Vatican archives. Now, this friend of mine, he told me some things, and I was just like, no. But I said to him, look, I'm going to put it over on the show, right? We're going to discuss it and see what comes of it. Now, the first one that pops up, which is crazy, and I think he'd have some sort of information on this, is the fact that there is evidence of extraterrestrial life inside the Vatican vaults.
This one's been going on for a while, and I'm half and half on this one as well.
Yeah, yeah,
because I think they try and cover their basis on everything, because that's what you do when you're a good business. You try to cover all your bases. Like
yeah.
they have their own observatory, and they've already accepted that aliens will exist.
Yeah. See, but this is the
So,
thing. What I find this is because as much as we sit here and talk on the show about the the Vatican being hypocritical and that, we talk of it from a faith point of view, but let's look at it from a science point of view. This is an organization that literally put Galileo under house arrest until he died because he said the Earth revolves around the sun, right?
Yeah.
And they've built an observatory. This is what I'm saying. You got to look past the faith and look at. They will question science until science proves them wrong, and science is proven right, and then they will jump on the bandwagon and follow that through. Do you know what I mean?
do you know what's even more shocking?
What's that?
50 years ago,
Yeah.
the Vatican City secretly accepted that Darwinism and evolution was a real thing.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
I
And
think
then
we spoke about it before, haven't we?
yeah, and the fact that they questioned Darwin and then they absolved him in like 1997, and then they absolved Galileo in 2002 for his theory of the sun revolving around Earth and his theory that we're a solar system. It's mind blowing. But when it comes to extraterrestrial life, supposedly conspiracy theorists and some theorists have wrote books saying that they have elongated skulls of extraterrestrials, and they also have the hidden crystal skull in the vaults at the Vatican, which I don't think is that far from the truth.
Elongated skulls, if you're going on any alien theory, you can throw a dart at a board, you're going to hit some culture with an elongated skull. Literally, it's that more. As for the crystal skull being there, one of the 16, I will neither confirm nor deny of knowledge of knowing that they have one of these things. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh my! I'll tell you something. Your bum cheeks must hurt because you're constantly on the fence.
Let's just say that there is a certain other artifact in a certain museum in Switzerland that is also on loan, but technically owned by them, but not technically owned by them, which would be a certain, shall we say, spear tip of a certain pole arm.
I love the way you just. Oh my god! Irene says an American CIA agent found tunnels going from hotels to underground places in Brazil. Yes, and they also supposedly discovered a hidden bunker holding all the Nazi treasures, including the third egg of Cleopatra that was opened by some old Nazi relic that was found in Argentina. There was because supposedly the Cleopatra's father, when she got married, they made these 3 golden eggs. They're worth like billions and billions, and supposedly the Nazi was holding the third one that was lost, and it was in this bunker in Argentina, supposedly.
I'm going to say Cleopatra's father was actually a brother, I think.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I'm at the moment deep diving into like this whole Rothschild dynasty, right? Totally, completely opposite to what we're talking about now. I've been deep diving into this Rothschild dynasty. And you don't realize back in the 1700s how ancestral people were. Like Maya Rothschild, which was the first guy who come out of the Jewish ghettos. You know, he was the first one to sort of realize that playing both armies, like during the Napoleonic War, he played one side off the other, made a profit. He was the first one to do that. He had 5 children. He had 5 boys and 5 girls. Now the girls are completely irrelevant because back in them times, women. And I'm not saying it's like this now, so please don't shout at me, but they were irrelevant back in them times. And out of the 5 sons that he had, 4 of them married either cousins or brothers, daughters. It was only one that married outside of the family, and it was a marriage of position because he married the head of the Henna Guard, the Hensey Guard. So, yeah,
To bring that back onto topic, that then birth certificates, because back then the Vatican pretty much had everyone's birth certificates, are actually in the archives.
I'm not surprised. Honestly, when I read out some of the bits that I've got that are inside this archives, it's crazy. There are groves form in Brazil that buried the Nazi high official. Yes, I've heard of this. Never been proven though. Let me just put it out. Craig William. Welcome along, my friend. The book talked about aliens. It did, but it didn't talk about aliens in the sense of extraterrestrials. It talked about aliens in the sense of a race of giants called Nephilim and Aphilim. So, yeah, aliens in that sense. Irene has put up, Japan has Shinto shrines that showed it came from aliens. My temple that I go to is a mountain, like a steep pyramid. It's on my Paranormal Japan group. I have to check that out because we spoke about there being pyramids all different places in the world as well. Because they have some sort of geographical and magnetic sort of influence. And that's why they're there, some sort of like communication device. Big shout out to a new listener, out to Rigger Nicole. Welcome along.
John.
Right, so Ben, this is going to be another one that's going to throw it out there. Something else that's in the Vatican archives that I don't believe this. I'm not going to be funny. I don't believe this. But it's something that's said to believe. Have you ever heard of anything called a chronovisor?
Is that a device that allows you to see forward and backwards in time, or to appear into relative objects?
Supposedly, inside the Vatican archives, there is something called a chronovisor. It's believed to have been built by Italian scientist and priest Father Pellegrino Maria Anetti. The chronovisor is a device that apparently allows people to view the future and past, although there is no record such a device exists and believed to be hidden inside the archives. Does it exist? I don't believe it. I'm sorry. It has that sort of after effect of the Montauk project. You know, we have the golden passport, being able to sort of look backwards and forwards and contact spirits with the golden passport, but it's the knock-on effect. If they had this chronovisor that allows them to see in the past and in the future, wouldn't that question everything that we're taught with the whole thing of, like, you know, you die, you go to heaven, you go to hell? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It also, on a quantum mechanical level,
yeah,
you can't see the future.
Yeah, because energy isn't created; it's just restructured. So how can you see energy not being created? Yeah, it would have to be restructured for you to see it. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
On a scientific level, when it comes to quantum mechanics and understanding time flow, is technically everything that has ever happened, ever will happen, is happening now. However, that then you bring in line with Einstein's relativity. So you would only be able to see how far ahead you technically would be alive. So you'd only be able to see to your end of your, say, light spectrum of life. So you wouldn't be able to see beyond that. So then technically you cannot see the future beyond your own lifespan.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. The concept and creation of this device would not, it would go against every single thing that we understand of quantum mechanics.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I do believe that time travel is possible.
Yeah. Oh, they've proved it.
Yeah. But haven't they proven that you can only go backwards, you can't go forwards? Yeah.
They've proven that time travel is possible on a quantum level. I think the advancement was only, because of how we are, the advancement's only 8 minutes that you can travel forward in time. Because of basically, I can't think of the name, photons from the sun will only allow you to travel 8 minutes further in time. But you can only ever travel backwards.
Something to do with that they'd have to shoot photons through your body so fast that you would just eradicate if you went further than 8 minutes.
Yeah, basically break down your body into nothingness.
Because there was a with Denzel Washington called Deja Vu, where they're only allowed to see 8 minutes and 31 seconds in front of time. And it was a window that they could see. And then Denzel Washington tries to travel forwards, and they say, if you go any more than 8 minutes and 31 seconds, you'll be a puddle. And all this sort of, films are very close to what they are, you know. And Ben proved that because he was talking about a story, I think it was last week or the week before, where he was talking about when he went to the Vatican. And he said it's a lot like Angels and Demons, you know, when Tom Hanks goes bolts and it's all air pressured, but in the sense of, if you rip something out of a book, you're being scored out and never be let back in again.
You'd get arrested straight away on the spot. You'd get pinned down, and that would be it. You'd be a number one. You won't even be allowed to leave Italy.
It is crazy. It is crazy. Another thing that's in the vault that we spoke about before the show is something called the Grand Grimoire. Is that the pups?
Yeah.
I was about to say,
It's not me. I'm speech with Eamon.
but you did have Chinese. Oh,
Yeah.
supposedly well, I say supposedly because I'm proven, there is a book called the Grand Grimoire. You said there were 7 of them, weren't there?
So, yeah, there's supposed to be 7 of these. Everyone claims to have the original one.
Yeah.
But there are originally 7 made because there was supposed to be one for each sin. The Vatican claims to have one of these. There's loads of other places that claim to have them. So yeah, I'm definitely on a. I would not be surprised if they didn't have one.
Yeah. Well, out of all the things that we've mentioned so far, this one has actually been proven to exist. The Grand Grimoire does exist, but who wrote it, they don't know. Now, there are rumours that it was written by King Solomon because it may have been discovered in the tomb of King Solomon in 1750, but they're saying it could have been written much later. Now, the Grand Grimoire is said to contain a ritual for summoning Lucifuge Rothakal, which is we know as Satan, which is the Prime Minister of Hell, among other spirits, demons, entities, whatever you want to call it, of the underworld. Apparently, someone also has to give up their soul in the process. A necromantic procedure that 19th century occultist A.E. Waite said only a dangerous maniac or irreclaimable criminal would be qualified to carry out to the full effect. So yeah,
a lot of people get this mixed up with the Devil Bible, the Bible that was supposed to be written in one night by the devil himself. Yeah, a lot of people get these mixed up. These books, no, not the Satanist Bible, the Devil Bible books was supposed to be written by one.
So stupidly thick, isn't it?
Yeah,
like that thick.
Yeah.
Is that the one with all the weird drawings on it?
Put that on the screen on me.
Say again, David.
Is that the one with all the weird drawings on it? It's just like loads of drawings written in some weird language.
No, that's a different one. This one is.
There appears to be many of these.
I'll do a show on all different books. This book that I'm on about is about I think it's about.
Let me find it on me.
In sort of time. It was basically a priest sold his soul and had to write this Bible in one night. So he didn't get excommunicated. He ended up calling the devil in to help him. The devil wrote this book, and that's the one that people get mistaken with. It is massive.
Is this the one that went out of a window and killed somebody?
Yeah. Same book.
Right, we're on the right. I know where we are now.
Yeah. You know which book it is. It's frigging massive.
Yeah, I know which one we're talking about now.
Yeah.
Well, this Grand Grimoire was actually translated into French and was called Le Dragon Rouge, so the Red Dragon, and made it as far as the Caribbean, which is still in use today, which is very worrying.
That's sort of, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can't really see
it. Yeah, got it. Yeah, that is the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
The Codex Gigas.
Codex Gigas.
Yeah. Codex Gigas.
Yeah, the Devil's Bible.
Yeah, that's what them two books always get confused. Or people always think the Grand Grimoire is
written by Herman Louis Cluse.
Now, with the next one, I've got quite a bit written out for this because it's something that could be quite shocking if it's proven. Now, supposedly, there's proof inside the Vatican vaults that Jesus wasn't crucified.
Yeah, this is a major thing within cultology, and this is where Christians hate cultologists. Because we're on the understanding that he wasn't actually crucified, but we're also on the understanding that he wasn't actually Christian either; that he was a Buddhist.
Yes, it's where it comes from, and this is not proof that Jesus doesn't exist. It's just proof that he wasn't crucified. I'll read the story. Yeah. So, the story of Christ's crucifixion lies at the heart of Catholic doctrine. Take that away, and you've got a whole bunch of meaningless symbols, which is true. According to a guy called Michael Bajant, however, none of the crucifixion really happened, and it's not in the way the Bible says it did. Unlike some, Bajant isn't denying that Jesus ever existed. Far from it. In fact, he says the prophet probably lived long after his supposed death in 33 AD. Now, Allegedly, Jesus escaped execution by striking a deal with Pontius Pilate, the man who sentenced him to death. It was Rome's interest to keep Jesus alive, despite the pressure to kill him. Badger says because he instructed his followers to pay tax. The best solution for all was to fake the crucifixion. Now, how did he fake it? By simulating a rapid death with hashish, opium, and belladonna. The prophet's enemies would be satisfied and Christ could be taken down from the cross before sustaining mortal wounds. The drugs may have been administered via the vinegar-soaked sponge lifted to his mouth on the reed, ostensibly to quench his thirst. Now, Bashan doesn't have proof of this, of course, but it says that it does exist. Supposedly, an important document was unearthed by the French priest Berenguer Saunier at his church in Reims-le-Château. Shortly after, the documents disappeared and Saunier became immensely rich, which suggests that the Vatican paid him off the document away. However, there remains an intriguing clue inside Saunier's church. Unlike in other churches, Station 16 of the cross, depicting Jesus' placement on the tomb by his disciples, shows a night sky with a full moon, indicating that Passover has begun. Since Jews are forbidden from handling the dead during Passover, the disciples carrying Jesus in this image can only be understood to be removing him from the tomb alive, not interfering with his corpse.
Yep.
Makes sense to me. But you've got to look at the
question on that.
If he wasn't crucified, that would literally just destroy anything that the church has ever said. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. But this is where I'm not questioning anyone's faith, but we have evidence to back up that these sort of claims have been made before, due to the fact that when in the Old Testament it says the Jews left Egypt because of their persecution and that.
Yeah.
In no historical records whatsoever is there any persecution of Jews in Egypt.
That's true.
Saying that they were not taken on as a slave force to build anything.
Yeah.
There is no evidence of this happening. Ramses, that they mention in the Bible, is Ramses II.
Yeah.
The greatest founder of the Egyptian, well, the greatest founder of Egypt as we know it.
Was he the richest at one point as well?
He was the richest. He was the most strategist. He expanded Egypt into what it was. There was no, this guy marked absolutely everything with his name. Every bit of history that was done was wrote down.
Yeah.
No mention of persecution of Jews.
It's just crazy, isn't it? It's just crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he wasn't crucified or anything like that. These are just theories that have popped up that I thought I'd bring onto the show. I'm not questioning anybody's faith or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if there is proof, big shout out to Matt Chapman. Welcome along. If there is proof, you know what I mean. I tell you what, I come across a story. This was what I was told by a friend of mine. I come across a story that I found was actually quite hilarious. Have you heard of the silver hammer?
Is that the one that they used to knock nails into the Pope to see if he's dead or not?
No, yeah, they don't knock nails into him. It determines
Honestly.
the mortality. Yeah, it's true. It determines the mortality of each Pope. Now, the Vatican does keep a silver hammer on hand at all times. Its purpose is the Carmelingo of the Holy Roman Church uses hammer to determine whether or not the Pope has passed or not, right? Yeah. As tradition dictates, there's no reason to believe the Pope is.
That's one thing, but you put nails in as well, didn't you?
Now, the Carmelingo calls him by his name. If he doesn't answer, where there's no reply, the Carmelingo taps the silver hammer on the Pope's forehead. This happens a total of 3 times. If there is no response by the end of this ritual, the Pope is officially declared dead.
What size is the hammer? Is it like, a proper hammer, a big hammer, or like a little toffee hammer?
No, it's a proper hammer. It looks like do you know the hammer?
If he's dead already, then you're gonna kill him anyway, bite him on the head with it.
No, you don't go hammer and tongs at him and beat the crap out of him. You just give him a little tap. You're dead.
You just use a toffee hammer, aren't you? Or even just like a pen and just go,
ow.
There you see, he's alive.
I've seen a picture of it, right? It looks like the sort of hammer they use, like mountain climbers use to like dig into the ice and get like a claw hammer.
So it's gonna kill him. It's got a good old spike in it.
Yeah, but they don't use to spike it. You've got serial killer tendencies, I'm telling you.
Matt, you absolute bugger. I was about to say that next. Why? Yes, Matt's comment is very true.
They have a chance to check the Pope, his mail, and to actually. Really?
Yep, because one of the popes, I cannot remember what year, but they had a pope, and I've got to try and word this right because if not, it ruins it straight away. They were walking down the St. Peter's stairs, so that's just outside the Vatican when you come down the stairs that you see in front. And the Pope suddenly collapsed and gave birth.
No way.
Honestly, a woman had disguised herself and she was made Pope and she gave birth on the Vatican stairs, and they realised that she was a woman.
I have serious questions, right? This is right. There's two things. First things first, how can you not tell that the Pope was male or female? And secondly, what the hell is on this chair to determine whether they're male or female?
Pope Joan.
Pope Joan, there you are.
855 to 857.
They
She
basically
reigned as Pope for 2 years during the Middle Ages.
they lift this chair up while the Pope's on it, and he has to basically show the Holy Trinity, shall we say, to people as they walk past.
What? Oh my days! Oh. Well, I know.
Well, they actually given birth though.
Yeah, she died on the stairs.
That's
See, there's a mystery unto itself. No one has ever determined whether she died naturally or whether she happened to be killed off.
Yeah, and because when the Pope dies, the papal mandate goes to El Carmelengo. It means that they get to call the shots. So, and with the popes, obviously the Pope calls all the shots in the Vatican. He says what is and what isn't. So when Carmelengo takes over and takes that power, it is literally like, no, she died of natural causes. Leave it to her be.
Yeah.
Are you questioning me? Because I'll have you exiled. Simple. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it is. And as much as we believe, or we as people like to sit there and believe that there's no such thing as a dictatorship anymore, it's been going for years because the Vatican is a dictatorship. We're told that the Pope is elected by God and he is a messenger of God and he is there to direct humanity in the way of God. So a God within himself, I've read, really. Did you also know that inside the Vatican archives they have the biggest porn collection in the world?
Of certain images.
Yeah. No, we're not going to go there, but
we can't go anywhere beyond that.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. But yeah, they're supposedly they house the world's biggest porn collection. And so supposedly there are inside there are secret tunnels that lead underneath the Vatican to certain places like the Basilica and St. Paul's and that. And
there are rat ways underneath.
Yeah.
You get under most times though, don't you, in 1650, don't you?
You can actually, what's not known about the Vatican is the fact that it has a catacomb underneath, same as Paris.
Oh, right. Okay, that makes sense. Yep. Just to go, Matt says it's basically a hole and they have a quick look. They have a little butchers. They go, hey, it's about, okay, cool. He's well, when they have a look, they're like, that looks like a belly button. Is that an innie or an outie? Matt saying, I might be wrong, but doesn't royal families claim to be chosen by God? Old school, yeah. Old school do. Nowadays, it's more like rumours, i.e. there's a rumour that the Queen is a direct descendant from the Prophet Muhammad from the Muslim faith, which I don't believe myself personally.
Yeah. But how would you even get that when he did?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It's all claims, Matt. People claim these things, Look at Henry VIII. He couldn't divorce his wife, so he decided to start his own religion. Like royal families back in the day could do what they like, really. The Pope won't give me what I want, so I'll start my own religion. We're going to call it Winfieldism.
You don't want to be following this religion.
Right. So when it comes to the Vatican, we have the stories of the Illuminati that always seems to pop up. Now, the story behind the Illuminati is they stands for the Enlightened Ones. They were the people that believed in science over what the church was saying, and their ideal way of getting to what they want in the world is by placing certain people in certain places. Now, there are rumors that there are higher ranking Illuminati members within the Vatican walls. Could be seen as a secret. And it would make sense because supposedly, who was the guy that painted St. Paul's? What was his name?
Da Vinci.
No. Yeah, no, Da Vinci was supposed to be Illuminati as well, but there was another, I can't remember his name.
It was Da Vinci, and there was a.
I can't remember his name.
There was a bloke that taught Da Vinci. I can't remember his name.
I've thrown information out and forgot to write the name.
No, a lot of Da Vinci's works were kept in the Vatican archives, but were sold a while ago. To, believe it or not, the royal family have ownership of a lot of Da Vinci's work.
Yeah.
It was on display in Derby a couple of years ago. Which anyone in Derby, I gave you full notice they were going to be there. I gave you 3 years advance warning. So can you all please stop complaining every time I mention it that you didn't get to go see it?
He gave you fair warning, guys. He gave you fair warning. 3
years in advance, I told you it was going to be in the museum.
Everyone sits there. They go like, it's Friday, it's 7 o'clock. Them two nutters and their helper goes live about this time tonight. I mean, the Vatican itself is a secret. We know it has like one of the highest crime rates in the world per square capita. It's its own country. Do you know it's not as old as we thought it was?
No, the original Vatican was burnt down and they rebuilt it to what it is now.
And it didn't actually receive its statehood like as its own country until 1929. And do you know who gave it to them? And the pups have gone again. That is the smell of hellfire.
No, this stuff can be bottled up and used to get rid of demons.
Andrea della Verrecchio. Yeah, Verrecchio done a lot of the depictions of fire within the basilica. Because the big basilicas are renowned for having the 4 elements. It's like some sort of you would know this, Ben. It's an occult thing. Occultists believe that the basilica wasn't built in a framework within religion. It was built from a framework of occultology because it fixed the 4 elements in the 4 corners of the basilica.
Yeah, the balancing of everything.
Yeah. So Annette, you are spot on with that. But as I'm saying, the Vatican wasn't actually deemed its own country until 1929, and the person that actually pushed that through was Mussolini.
Yeah, a lot of it. Believe it or not, he was a bit of a.
Yeah, you ever see him do his public speaking? Oh, he was, and he's absolute nuts. I tell you, that guy was on some form of ayahuasca. I'm telling you.
Because for a while, the Vatican City wasn't actually Italian; it was part of the German Empire.
Yes, and supposedly this is what drove. This is what why they helped them leave Europe when it happened, and B, this is what sort of empowered Hitler to find these Catholic relics as well, because of his belief from what he was told by the Vatican. And don't forget, Hitler was a soldier during the First World War, and he would have been influenced by that, and he was arrested, and that's where he read Mein Kampf and all that sort of thing. So, and yeah, it sort of it does sort of make sense. And don't get me wrong, some of these secrets that we spoke about tonight, I don't believe there's a time machine. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. The alien thing, I can get on board with that. You know, we don't actually physically know down there. Ben's been down there, but I don't think he saw any elongated skulls.
No, I've not been down there. I was let into a small room with a book, and that was it, and a page. Well, not even a page. It was just this is the section you need. That's it.
It's like, right, you ready? Go. 1, 2, 3. That's it. You're done. There you go. Go on. See you later, mate.
Pretty much.
$4,000, man.
Cost me an absolute fortune. Loads of dedication and that lot to get there, and loads of owing people favors and stuff like that. To basically look at a book where they go, right, we'll put a hand on the top bit, a hand on the bottom bit, and you can just see this little gap in the middle.
But supposedly it takes on average, I read as well, it takes on average between 9 and 16 years to be granted access to see what you want to see within the vaults. And that's only if they allow you to see what you want to see. Supposedly, there's evidence down there of who killed JFK.
Yeah.
There are down there of the build-up of the Rothschilds and how they sort of come about. The Vatican archives, they stem something like 24.3 miles.
For me, for what I wanted to see, which is the other section as well, because you don't necessarily have to have access to the archives. You can have access to like the libraries, which is what I went for. To get access to the libraries, that takes 6 years, and you have to be vetted. You have to have someone to speak for. You have to have a member of the actual church that is going to be there with you and all this stuff. And it was just a nightmare.
I've always had a question when it comes to this. Right now, we all know that Catholicism and Christianity are all banded under one banner, but there are a lot of other sort of sects, like you got taught by the Russian Orthodox and stuff like that. Do they answer to the Vatican? So if you're Russian Orthodox Catholic or whatever, do they see the Vatican as a normal Catholic or a Roman Catholic would?
They see it as another entity. They don't see it as a governing body.
Right, that makes sense.
So they're just separately, but they will hold, shall we say, communals together where they all meet up and discuss.
So
they
sort
are
of,
not a governing body.
Sort of like Mecca is to the different, like sort of
Yeah.
Muslim. Yeah, right. Okay, that sort of makes sense. So it's always a question, because you can't. The way it's portrayed to us through movies, through readings and stuff like that, and we all know movies and books are embellished sometimes, but it's like the Vatican is the main beacon of hope for the Christianity and the Catholic faith. Do you see what I mean? But I've always wondered how it affects other sort of belief systems.
Yeah. You have that. What's the Vatican is known as the head of the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
All sects don't necessarily accept it as being the head. The main place to go where all religion meets to discuss stuff is Israel. It's not the Vatican. A lot of people think it's the Vatican. It's not. It's Israel. Israel has the largest collection of different sects, headquarters, and greeting points for all major religions going.
Yeah. That would make sense, and it does. That makes more sense than it being the Vatican. With it not being
Abrahamic belief system has a holding in Israel.
Yeah, that does. That makes sense. That actually physically makes sense more than anything else, because you got to remember Israel holds massive, like sort of how do you say it? It just holds that significance for a lot of religions, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Jewish, whether you're Christian, whether you're Catholic. It's played a part in every part of their history. You know, you've got the Temple over there for the Christians, and the Muslims were looking after Jerusalem for a little while. You know, Israelis are Jews. You know, it makes sense. It all sort of bounds into one.
Yeah.
But there you go. So, Vatican secrets. Chat room, if you've got any you want to talk about, let us know. I'm completely out of secrets now. I mean, it's crazy, because when you look at the Vatican in itself, it's like we said, it's its own entity, and it has its own laws, and it's governed by its own rules, and it is literally the only place in the world where it is unique to itself.
Yeah, you can get public access to the Vatican archives to a certain degree. I think I sent you a link to it ages ago.
Yeah, I still got it.
Yeah, to certain books that are public knowledge. Well, public knowledge, not well known public knowledge, but you you can get access to them to look at the old manuscripts.
Yeah.
But again, certain ones you can't. But it's more and more, as we progress more into this new age of, shall we say, enlightenment, more and more stuff's going to come out.
Yeah.
They've been
It's
very clever and kept documents, rather than documents on computers and stuff.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
know people can get hold of them. They know what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Of course they do. Of course they do, 100%. And at the end of the day, like we've spoke about it before on the show, it's the age of Aquarius. It's the age of enlightenment for humans and humankind, where we're actually looking past what we are conditioned to believe.
Yeah.
For instance, the belief in the paranormal itself has increased fourfold over the last 3 or 4 years. We have older religions now becoming a staple point instead of the 6 major Abrahamic religions being the staple point now. You know, Christianity has fallen, and Norse is up, Wicca is up. You know, it's the age of enlightenment. Like we are waking up to what's going on around us.
Yeah,
So
it's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're at a point. We're at this like sort of this turning point in human consciousness where we're sort of, instead of living our lives and doing what we're supposed to do, what we're conditioned to do, you know, get a good education, get a job, get a house, get a wife, get your children. We're all still doing that, but we're actually questioning the whys and what, do you know what I mean? The government says stay indoors. Well, why have we got to stay indoors? You know, you got this sort of thing. Well, why? We're actually doing what we're supposed to do as a sentient, conscious being, and question what we're told and actually make our own minds up for once. I think I'm on your side.
We are starting to progress beyond the understanding of which we are.
Yeah,
and which is nice.
it is.
There's going to be a lot coming this year.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And on here, on the other dimension, we've got a lot of things coming up. Now, we all know that Ben and Lou won't be here next week. I'm hopefully going to be joined by a guest, so I'm not sitting here talking to myself and confusing myself.
Oh yeah, the week after as well, buddy.
Oh, the week after as well. That one I'll probably be doing on my own, which will be fun. I'm sure I'll pick a cool subject. I'm guessing there's no divination on Thursday, is there?
No, not unless we do it psychically.
Be doing it whilst mixing cocktails.
I'm not mixing the cocktails. I'm having them handed to me. Thank you.
There is such thing called Skype, you know. No, I'm joking. You've got a good time. Right. So there's no.
I love you guys, but no.
Are you
We've
doing
got 5 hours time delay between us and you guys.
We're 5 hours ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
Look, you're in the future. You said only 8 minutes. You said only 8 minutes. You lied. So, are you guys doing a Sunday show this week?
Unsure as it stands.
Cool.
I will let everyone know due to the fact that we've got to get stuff packed.
And my child needs to be dropped off at relative's house.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Look, guys, you've got
the road Sunday afternoon, so we've got the weekend like all together here, and then it'll be hitting us more that we're going away once I dropped her off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I hope you guys have a great time. Don't forget, guys, like, look, we might not be doing a show on Sunday and Thursday this week, but Friday, I'm hopefully joined by a guest. We're going to be doing a very, very special subject. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. All right? It's something that's going to be really cool. You know, it's not going to be Ghosts of Bali. Let's put it that way.
You see, everyone get on the support him. Everyone that's watching this back, get on the support him when we're not here.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be good. I've got a few things planned. We've got some big guests coming up in the future. I'm working on it as we speak. I've actually my life now is dedicated to, I go to work, I go to gym, and then I come home and try and to convince people to come on the show. That is literally my life now. I haven't actually played PlayStation for like 3 days. I'm telling you.
Just remember something.
Oh, no.
For those of you that have come to the show recently, well, I say recently, over the past couple of months, you've found us from Exploring with Josh. They're coming back to the UK, and that's all I will say.
Oh, that should be quite cool. That
This
should
is
be
all
cool.
I will say.
Oh, don't forget as well, at some point, I think we're doing it. I'm not sure. We have got a arranged date, but sometime in June, we will be going to the Haunted Museum, and Truths Collective will be coming along as well. So we'll be streaming that live. That'll be quite cool.
Then when we get back off holiday, it's this one's interview.
Oh, do you know what? Good luck with that. She asked me why do I struggle to dress as a chav. What the hell? I was like, Kate, you have to understand, right? Yeah, where I live, I'm influenced by my environment. I have to blend in. If I dressed in like I wanted to dress, I'd look like a wizard walking around.
Brilliant.
Everyone be like, look, it's Gandalf.
Yes, we shall be
good luck.
leaving you.
That's a grilling. It's a grilling. It's hard. She asked some proper hard questions. It is good, though. It is good. Yeah, we've got that coming up as well. So, guys, right. Any questions? Get them up there in the chat. We're going to wish Ben and Lou, I hope you enjoy your honeymoon, guys. You've been waiting long enough for it. I hope it's a good trip. Can I ask one favour? Can we try and get some pictures of Ben in his mankini for the TOD calendar that we're going to be putting out?
Yeah.
You don't want that, honestly.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. No problem.
Budgie Smuggler February. It sounds good.
The shortest of the months as well.
Yeah. Well, now what we're going to do is because we believe in the occult, there'll be 13 pictures in the calendar because we believe there's 13 months, not 12. We're the dimension.
Oh dear.
Everyone's wishing you a great. Everyone's saying have a lovely honeymoon. Yeah. Oh, but big shout out to Huge Beam. Welcome along. A bit late, mate.
Hugh, man.
Yeah, guys. So look, we've come towards the end of the show. Like I said, there might not be a Sunday show. There might be a Sunday show. Keep your eyes peeled for that one.
We'll let you know.
Watch out for an investigation tomorrow.
Oh, see, we're not leaving.
The internet are getting out and about again.
Lou and Nettie. That's what I call it. This is what it should be called now. Lou and Nettie. No, well, I'll be watching that tomorrow night. It's gonna be good. Don't forget, tune into that one. Jeanette and Lou will be out investigating tomorrow night. Might be a Sunday show, might not be, but next time you'll see us, we'll be live on Friday, and hopefully I'll have a special guest.
Yep.
Ben, Lou, have a fantastic honeymoon. Enjoy yourselves. All right. And don't get burnt, Ben. And please don't have an accident. Please.
Don't say that.
Won't.
Oh my God.
Better not do. Joe, when we was talking the other night, when we was on the Scarlet Witch's show, and Lou was saying about carving a pumpkin, I was actually going to put up in the chat, like, please don't let Ben carve a pumpkin. He's the only person who could cut a finger off with a spoon.
I'm fine when it comes to cutting pumpkins.
I'm glad you stayed just cutting pumpkins, because there's other things that you're not fine with.
No. Don't let me loose with anything else cutting.
So, guys, right, we've come to the end of the show. Now, if you do want to be part of the TOD as well, if you want to run a show here like the Scarlet Witch does, like we do, all you have to do is contact us. There's plenty of spaces out there. Just hit us up on the Facebook page. It's facebook.com/TOD Paranormal. Send us a message and we'll get you sorted. But from us here at headquarters, from myself, it's bye from me, bye from Ben and Lou.
Bye.
Catch you later.
And they're going to be drinking on the beach soon with lovely cocktails, with little umbrellas in it and little cherries, and they're going to really enjoy it. But anyways, bye from us. Take it easy. And don't forget, if there's no other explanation, there is always the other dimension. Have a great weekend.